Hi Cancer, welcome to a special reading for the solstice period of June 21st. This is Rena, and I was just thinking that Cancers must have a special relationship with the solstice because that's the time when the solstice begins, is when, the sun goes into your sign. So that's, your solar return dovetails with this this solstice. And for me, I always think of the summer solstice because that's how it is where I live. And I am going to label this a summer solstice because a lot of people who are watching this will relate to that. So sorry to people down under. I can't even imagine it being winter, because I would love to experience like freezing weather right now. It's so hot. And actually the temperatures drop, but it's still very humid. But anyway, that's my issue. You're probably freezing right now. So what I've done is I've kind of condensed this spread, because this is something I got from a website called tarotassociation.net. So I want to give them props. The formal title is the Summer Solstice Spread to Connect with your higher self. So they use 9 cards. I'm only going to use 5. But I got the ideas for the cards themselves from this particular website. Now, I'm going to be using a combination of oracle cards and tarot cards. I'm shuffling the first deck right now. This first card that I'm going to use is from a deck called the Mystical Shaman Oracle deck, and I did get a free deck sent to me by Hay House, and I guess they found out that I don't know how they got my information. Maybe they I think they emailed me and asked if I'd like to receive it. And typically I don't review decks in terms of like, because if I did and I didn't like the deck, then what would, I wouldn't want to lie. So I just don't really review decks altogether, although I will say, oh, I really like this about the deck. Which, anything that happens to be true about it. I haven't really used these cards all that much because I don't typically use oracle cards in my readings. And so it's nice to be able to work these into a reading. And so this is going to be for the first position, which is the bright core. And this is your present burning. And this would refer to whatever is passionate for you in life, your passion. What can fuel you and sustain you? Look at this. Whoa, isn't that beautiful? And one feature of this deck that I just love is that it's borderless. So there's like, I don't know what it is about having a borderless card, but it gives that sense of expansion. I don't know how else to put it, that I really like. Okay, the second card is Radiance. How you can express yourself best, how you can communicate. I think, I want to see. I'm going to pick another one of these Mystical Shaman Oracle cards. I'm really resonating with them. I am using a combination. I was using tarot cards with this too. I think I'm going to refrain from using 2 and just use 1, because I use tarot cards all the time, so. That's so cool. Okay. And I think I said that, right? How you can best express yourself best, how you can communicate. Okay. Now the third position is Ancient Light, what to leave behind in shadow. So it's kind of like what what no longer serves you. Just debating on which card would best. I think I'm going to use a tarot card for that. This is my Morgan Greer Tarot deck that I use most often. It's also borderless. Okay. The fourth position is what your higher self wants you to remember most today. And I'm going to use the, well, I think I'm going to use, I've been using the Keepers of the Light Oracle cards for this position, if I'm not mistaken. Shuffling these cards. Oh, wonderful. That, you know, this really is very apropos for Cancer, because I got the Beloved and then I got Krishna, which is devotion. And kind of like that Bhakti Yogi. Yeah, Bhakti Yoga. Yogi. And Bhakti Yoga is a form of, is a path of yoga that is about devotion. And I'm sure that's why they have that, because Krishna is associated with that. And it's about your emotions really being activated in your spiritual celebration. I was going to say worship, but I don't know if that's an appropriate term. It probably would be. But in other words, I think it's comparable to maybe like fundamentalist Christianity in a sense, because the people who are in that, you know, the fundamentalists, they talk about a personal relationship with Jesus Christ. So there's that sense of the emotions being activated, whereas Buddhism is very much mental. You know, it's not about your emotions, it's about your mind. So that tends to attract certain people who don't really want to have their emotions aroused. And so people who tend to be intellectuals, scientists, people like that, they tend to, if they're going to get into any religion, it's probably going to be Buddhism, because they really favor that type of exploration of spirituality. But people who are heart-centered, and so, of course, the Cancer person, you're a water sign, this is right up your alley. Okay, and then the last is going to be from my Energy Oracle deck, and this is going to be Spark. What your higher self wants you to do more of in the future. Huh. This is kind of an interesting thing, because the card I got for that was 5th Chakra, Archangel Gabriel. I wonder if he's always associated with the 5th chakra, because Vishuddha, I believe it's called, and that is the communication center. So that is one of the upper chakras, and that's more, you know, that isn't really connected, that's more connected to the mind, I would say. But anyway, this is very interesting. I like the cards that I drew for you, Cancer. And I'm going to be reading from the booklet with some of these cards, because I can't speak on them by myself. Okay, so for the bright core, we have the Beloved, and this is number 5. I'm just going to hold it up briefly. And you can see there's a heart, and there's a little, I think there's another heart within the heart. And just the color, oh gosh, that red is just such a beautiful shade of red. I'm not like a big red person anymore. When I was a kid, I used to love the color red. The color red is associated with the 1st chakra. And so it's, but you know, some colors of red are a little bit too bright, and this one is a really nice shade, a couple of shades of red that I can see here. The only thing I have to do is figure out where that booklet is. That would have helped if I would have been prepared before this began, because now it's like I'm looking all over for this. It was right by me, and now it's not. And now I do not want to start this reading over again. Here it is. Thank goodness. Okay. The beloved is the recognition of spirit in another and moving towards spirit through the other. It is when the divine appears to us in the form of our child, our partner, our friend, and we experience being in love. As we grow, we start to recognize the beloved in everyone, not confusing their personality with their divine nature. Accept the invitation to learn through the path of love. Expand your being through union with another. When you recognize the beloved in another, you call forth their highest and purest nature. Follow the path of love. Be careful with romantic love, the kind of love you, quote, fall in and out of. Own all the projections you have placed upon the person you are dreaming of. Remember that they are only mirroring back your own deep longings, rather than revealing their true selves. If you fail to notice this, be prepared to walk through the fire of strong emotions once again. But this is interesting that this is your bright core, because this is something that is very much a part of the typical Cancer person as it is. By the way, forgive the trains, because this is kind of the rush hour period, so they come quite frequently. But yeah, so this is something that is not just like, I think, a current passion of yours. This is really how Cancers approach life in general. And this sustains you because your relationships are very important to you, your close relationships. Now, for the second position, this is how you express yourself best. And we have another one from this deck, Mystical Shaman deck, and it is called the Corn. And I think that's such a beautiful depiction. So let's see what it says. I'm curious, very, very curious what the corn represents. Obviously, these are going to be kind of probably like Native American archetypes because of the, and this is a North American thing. Corn represents the mother of sustenance and tangible abundance. Interesting, because it's the color of, you know, gold or yellow, and that certainly is connected to prosperity. This symbol represents material prosperity, there you go, in the world of form that provides stability and sustenance to many. There is more than enough. You planted a beautiful field of dreams and worked hard. Even in moments when you were losing faith, you continued. Now the spirit of the corn comes to honor this and show you a bountiful harvest. This is the time to reap the rewards of hard work and trust, whether those rewards are financial or the kind of prosperity measured in quality rather than quantity. You are so blessed when the symbol appears. Don't forget to share your good fortune. Okay, so in terms of communicating, make sure that that you can communicate ideas of abundance to others, because you are, you know, very good with money. Usually Cancer people are very good with material resources. The only area that they may struggle with sometimes is having a sense of faith that they will always be taken care of. So if there are any fluctuations, you may become a worrywart very quickly, and also convey that sense of worry to others, including your children, your, you know, parents, and, you know, your spouse, anybody. And actually, the ability to feel prosperous no matter what your current circumstances is such a great thing to be able to feel and then to convey to others so that they can be inspired by that. Because it's so easy to get caught up in anxiety. You know, Lord knows that's true for just about anyone, even people who consider themselves, you know, positive thinkers. Okay, and then the third position, I like how they call it ancient light, and this is what you leave behind. This is represented by the Emperor, and if we talk about actual people, this could be an actual Aries person, and some of you are attracted to Aries people, both cardinal signs, but it could also be someone who is in law enforcement, maybe even a judge, or, you know, makes important decisions, or a military man. This can also be just a father figure, especially if it's, yeah, I guess it could be anyone. It doesn't have to be just an authoritarian type of father, but that could be certainly the type of father that you had, who was kind of like, it's my way or the highway. But this is kind of sometimes rigid thinking. And so anything within your nature that tends to be black and white, please look at that, admit it if it's true, and start to loosen those knots of duality, because it's very easy to be judgmental, and this is a card of control. So sometimes people hide behind authoritarianism because it makes them feel like safer. It makes them feel like they are more in control of their relationships and life in general. So if you're a parent, not, you know, see things from your child's point of view. That isn't being a lax parent, or, you know, like letting children run wild. Not at all. It's just that putting yourself in somebody else's shoes and not expecting too much from, you know, expecting things developmentally from children rather than, you know, expecting a small child to be like a little adult, and being very harsh in condemnation if they don't follow something, when sometimes, you know, children are very scattered in their attention. Or the same thing can be towards a spouse who forgot, you know, your anniversary or your birthday, which is like a big no-no for a Cancer person. And in your mind, you know, who does that? But other people are not as diligent, and it's not due to lack of love. It's just how they are. So kind of loosening that a little bit. Okay. Now I'm looking for my other booklet. I put everything... Okay, here it is. I'm sure you don't want my excuses. Okay, I'm going to read what it says below. It says devotion. Trust your spiritual guidance. Your commitment has been recognized. You are loved unconditionally. And the position for this was glory, what your higher self wants you to remember most today. Today being the solstice. Even though I'm recording this before the actual date. Krishna is a Hindu god who is known as a Mahavatar, great avatar, and embodies divine wisdom. One of India's best-loved gods, he is an approachable, kind, loving, and supportive guide. He is a peaceful being with a great love for all people and animals. He is often depicted with a calf or lamb, which is a symbol of innocence, and a peacock feather on his head, which is said to honor the divine feminine. He was the spiritual guide of the warrior soul Arjuna, as related in the Hindu epic Bhagavad Gita, which is really a story of choosing love over fear, and helps us move beyond the limitations and wars our ego creates in our mind, and maybe even in the world around us. His twin flame is Radha. You have a deep spiritual connection and must trust the guidance that's coming through. Your devotion to the spiritual path has been recognized. It may feel as if you've been on a mental, emotional battlefield, but there are sweet messages of hope around you now. Krishna is here to boost your sense of connection to the divine and encourage you to act from your soul. If a decision needs to be made, ask yourself what will honor your soul and those around you. If you can choose the best for all involved, then you will feel even closer to the divine. And as I was saying that, I was just thinking about your second half, Cancer, where you're going to have a solar eclipse July 12th in your sign, and then you're going to also have the North Node, the transiting North Node, entering your sign in November. So the last half of this year of 2018 just feels very special for Cancers. Maybe a very important, pivotal point in your life. So this is kind of on the cusp of that, on the edge of that. Okay, and the final card is Spark, what your higher self wants you to do more of in the future. And that was the card with the 5th chakra, Archangel Gabriel. And that's the 5th chakra is about communication. I will read what it says. Self-expression, speaking your truth. Gabriel holds his trumpet in one hand and a beautiful orb of blue light in the other. He is sending powerful energy to your throat center. See the glowing in the throat chakra. Acknowledging your power to communicate and readiness to do so. This angel opens you up to truthful expression both with yourself and others. You may have had trouble with expressing emotions and ideas in the past, but Gabriel is here to tell you that your soul longs to take this leap now. Be aware that true communication includes how you speak to yourself, so never deny your profound integral value. Speak up for yourself. Write in your journal. Let your words flow. Now is the time to express yourself freely and fully, and the universe always honors your choice to do so. This card could also indicate that a communication project is coming, or a time of heightened communication with spirit and telepathy with others. So that speaks for itself, and I hope that you enjoyed this special reading, Cancer. I wish you a wonderful solstice. Take care. Bye.